What's up, y'all? It's Gerard B with Gerard B TV, talking about Commanders Camp Day 3. First play of 11 on 11s. JD in the pocket, stepping up to throw over the middle to his tight end. Next thing he see, a blur, white and burgundy. Safety Quan Martin closing in like a heat-seeking missile. Vaporizes the play, jars the ball loose. Before he could even think about touching the grass, Mike Sainristil is there. Interception. And you know he had something to say to JD. You know he was giving that boy everything and a bag of chips. Like I said, that was the very first snap of 11 on 11s of day 3 of Commanders Camp. It wasn't just a play, man. It was a statement. It was a warning shot fired across the field to the offense, letting them know we here. We no longer little bro. Right? It might even have been a shot to the league, letting the league know, hey, we not finna be little bro no more, for real. We not about to get carried. We gonna win some games for this offense, all right? We gonna win some games for this team. We gonna close some of y'all out. That's all we want. That's what we need. Because you know we had a difficult season last year. Expectations are sky high now, though. We begging for a defensive turnaround. We need it. But for a defense that had its shares of ups and downs, this was more than just a training camp highlight. It was a sign that the days of inconsistency that we had, they behind us. Dan Quinn, Joe Whitt, new era. Built a different kind of energy, right? That brotherhood. That's all you hear about when they do their interviews is brotherhood. It's the same message from the players, from the coaches. And you know when you hear it like that, it's resonating and it's sinking in them brains. Secondary, probably going to be our best unit, man. A unit completely retooled from last year. They sent the clearest message of all. The defense plans to be the engine that drives us this year. What? And they just trying to get started now. They turning up in camp. To understand why a few interceptions in late July feels so monumental, we got to be honest with ourselves. Where this team has been and where this team really trying to go, where they ain't been in since 91. But let's be real. The 2024 season was catastrophic on defense, man. All right. We was one of the worst defenses in the league, if not the worst defense in the league when it came to points and yards allowed. It was poorest. It was a unit that lacked identity. They was aggressive, but when you don't have identity or you don't have the players that fit that identity that the coaches really want to have, it's going to be tough to do anything. And then we weren't taking the football away, which is a key identity factor in what they're trying to build. So we didn't just tweak the system. We didn't just tweak it. We retooled, man. We retooled. The vision clear. Joe Whitt put a scheme on, whether it's 4-3 or 3-4. The secondary is non-negotiable. All right, that's his baby. That's going to be the foundation that we build our defense on. All right, we got the big boys up front, the monsters. We got the smart, aggressive linebackers, but it's going to be that secondary that really take us where we're trying to go this year. This about dictating terms, right? That's what the secondary do. Dictate terms. Swarm to the ball, disrupt quarterbacks, create chaos, make them hold the ball. You want them hunting for turnovers, be relentless, swarm to the ball mentality, rally at the quarterback mentality. So as we watch day 3 of training camp unfold, I ain't get to watch it. Some of y'all might have been out there. It's not just a practice, man. It's physical proof that some of that new philosophy is sinking in, baby. The players are different. The coaches are different. The energy is different. They the same people, right? But it's just different. Feel good. Feel good. Feel good. Shout out to Lou. But remember, we're not about repeating the mistakes of the past. It's about burying them bitches. Day 3 was just the first glimpse of what this defense can be. A unit defined not by yards it gives up, but the plays is gonna make because we got a bunch of playmakers back there. It's all gonna start with the secondary, and that looks like they ready to take the charge. For years, the Commanders secondary has been a source of our frustration. Blown coverages. I'm talking about you, St. Juice. Inability to generate game-changing turnovers. That was a recurring theme. We just was not playmakers on the ball. Back in 2024, we was at the bottom of the league in interceptions, man. A stat that perfectly captures our struggles. A defense that can't create turnovers, can't swing momentum, and can't close out opponents. Under DQ and Joe Whitt, man, that had to change immediately. They had to put their stamp on this defense, man. Day 3 was a perfect exhibition of that change in mindset. Because you know what it was? It was a turnover party. And the secondary was hosting, man. So let's go back to the opening play. It was the perfect example of the new identity that they trying to build here. It starts off with Quan Martin. As your safety, he has to be able to cap offensive plays. Now entering his 3rd season, Martin is the player the coaches love. They rave about the boy. They're really high on him, right? Seeing him as a key piece of the defense for years to come. Probably gonna get a contract extension next year. Already know. He reads the play, diagnoses it instantly, explodes toward the catch point. He's not playing it safe. He's attacking the ball. He's being aggressive. He's being a playmaker. All right. His aggression prevents the completion. But it's what happens next. This is where the evolution starts to come into place. The ball is in the air. In previous years, that ball might have fell to the ground harmlessly. Right? Well, it did fall harmlessly. Right into enter Mike Sainristil, the Commanders' 2nd round pick from last year, right? We all know who he is. Wide receiver in college. Switched over the corner. Now he's our corner. Pick that bad boy off, man. He got a symbiotic relationship with making plays. That's what I want to say. He has a symbiotic relationship to making plays, and it's infectious, man. Opportunistic hands. All right. This is what playmaking secondary looks like. It's not just one guy. It's all the players working together to create a turnover, to create that one opportunity that you need. But the party was just getting started. The draft class of this year was about to put on a show. In the next series, our 2nd round pick from this year, Trey Amos, he had to make his presence felt. He had to come on the scene, man. All right, he had to be the cool guy. Let me slide up in here right quick. This our party, let me make sure I'm here. VIP me. He lined up in press coverage, pressed up the receiver, stayed in his hip pocket downfield, and perfectly timed his attack to the ball to force the pass breakup on a deep pass attempt. It wasn't a turnover, but it was just as demoralizing to the offense. Who in the offense, all they want to do is just make plays. But now they're getting plays made on them by these corners. A play was there to be made, and they made it. A few plays later, Marcus Mariota was under center. Offense tried again. Mariota dropped back, scanned the field. He let one rip. Commanders defensive back was waiting, unfortunately. Because your man safety, Tyler Owens, right? The mutant. Another new face from last year. Read the QB's eyes, jumped the route, came down with the interception. The secondary was booming, all right? Letting them know what was really good. That we here. We actually them ones. That's what they out there yelling. But we built to do one thing, and above all else, is to get that football. Interceptions are the splash plays, the flip the field plays. They often the result of something much deeper. They're a result of the defensive philosophy that's been executed down after down. On day 3, the turnovers were the reward. But the process, the skill sharpening, the relentless aggression, tight coverage, and clear communication, that's the real story here. DQ and Joe Whitt in his rarest form, right? Defensive philosophy isn't complicated. Dorrance Armstrong made that perfectly clear when he mentioned the defense can be described in two words: fast and physical. It's about letting the players play fast, think less, play with instinct and speed, and you're going to see that everywhere on the field. Corners are no longer playing 10 yards off the line of scrimmage, giving away free releases. They up in their faces, challenging them at the line of scrimmage, giving that good old bump and run coverage. Aggressive press man coverage, that's a hallmark of Dan Quinn's defense. High risk, high reward approach that dares the receivers to get free and the quarterback to be perfect. You don't have to look no further than when you made that trade last year for Marshawn Lattimore. He a veteran corner known for his swagger, physicality, and willingness to challenge the opponent's best receiver. Yeah, we looking at you, A.J. Brown, C.D. Lamb. Listen, when that trade was made last year, DQ was all over the moon about the boy. All right? Toughness, man-to-man ability. He's a clear sign that Lattimore represents exactly what he wants out of his cornerback room. But we saw this philosophy in action. It might not end in turnovers all the time, but multiple pass breakups from camp, the defensive backs were draped all over the receivers without committing fouls. That's the key, St. Juice. Also, returning players, second-year players, hell, the rookies, man, they coming in with all kind of confidence and swagger, right? They being empowered to trust their eyes and attack the ball. It's like our whole team is having this upward renaissance, right? It's amazing, man, because Quan Martin is part of that renaissance. He's one of the last, if not the last, he's the last contributing person on our team from Ron Rivera's draft classes. So we can't even call them draft classes. Them was ass classes. That was horrible, man. But as far as Quan Martin go, you know they loving him. They rave about him. They talk about how versatile he is, how much of a playmaker he is, how much he's been working on being a playmaker. He was flying downhill and run support in practice, communicating checks pre-snap, a constant presence around the football, run or pass. It don't matter. They believe he elite. I think Joe Whitt believe he can be a potential all-pro safety. And if we get one of them, sky is the limit. We are going to flourish. The same goes for sophomore corner, Mikey Sainristil, right? Mikey, them ball skills are his calling card. Again, former wide receiver, and he played basketball. So the boy, yeah, he like that. He got a relentless motor, and he competitive as hell. Dog, right? You seen what he was doing against Mike Evans. Like, what? You seen what he was doing against A.J. Brown? Come on, man. When he went against, like, I ain't gonna lie, when he was going against Jamar Chase, I was a little mad that we ain't had no safety help over top that one play. That kind of pissed me off. But hey, neither here nor there. You know what I'm saying? But Trey Amos, he cut from that same cloth as Mikey, man. Except for he a longer corner. You know, he just as physical, right? He loves disrupt receivers at the line of scrimmage. So these aren't just coverage guys that we got. Man, these are aggressive football players, right? Fast and physical football players. This new scheme isn't just asking players to cover. It's about asking them to attack from all angles. What they witnessed, what we witnessed, what the league witnessed on day 3 wasn't just a collection of good plays. It was a clinic and a new defensive identity for us. For years, the defense has always been on its heels. And we finally about to have the offense on their heels. Finally, for the first time in a long, long time. The dominant performance of the secondary is a massive source of optimism for us as a fan base. Shit, I believe as a team, they probably raving over there about them boys. However, y'all know how the NFL go. Y'all know how team sports is. It's not just one unit, right? A great secondary can make a pass rush look better and vice versa. So as we celebrate, and we are celebrating, the rise of our defensive backfield, who we believe is going to be one of the top units on our team, we got to ask ourselves this critical question. Can this emerging strength cover up some of the defensive line woes that we may be coming across in this season? That's a major question mark. So when heading into 2025, a lot of the pundits around the league believe the defensive line is trash. It's a line in transition. You know, it's a dramatic shift from back 3, 4, 5 years ago when we had Chase Young, Montez, Deron, and John, and they was talking about how, it was all first-round draft picks. And I mean, it was cool, but they didn't get the job done. Overpaid and not necessarily giving me the production I was looking for. You know, that void in production is you can't be that void of production and be talking that much shit, right? So when Adam Peters came in, you already know he had to plug up all the holes, man. He was like, look, get Dorrance Armstrong last year. You understand Dan Quinn's system. You're going to be able to bring the other guys along rather quickly. This year, he brought in Javon Kinlaw. Now, the line is being built around our playmaking defensive tackles, if you want me to be completely honest. Deron Payne and Johnny Newton, they're going to do work. My next video is definitely going to be talking about a defensive line. So check that out. I'm going to put a link in the joint or whatever for y'all to check out as well. But listen, the game-wrecking talent that is Deron Payne, you know what I'm saying, contract Payne. So you got contract lot, and now you got contract Payne. Yeah, he ain't playing. He definitely about to be a game wrecker this year. And I think Johnny Newton's going to have a renaissance season. I know, year 2 guy, but a renaissance season for sure. I think he's going to put his name on the map because they can play the run and the pass. But now you got these bigger bodies up there with you as well. It's going to be to clog things up. It's going to work out. But they got to have time to gel. And that's precisely why the secondary's performance is so vital for us, man. The relationship between pass coverage and pass rush is symbiotic. Every extra half second a quarterback holds the ball is a half second defensive line to be able to get home. On day 3, we saw that dynamic play out a little bit. Tight coverage was a direct contributor to the pressure the offense felt. The pass rush didn't have to be dominant on its own. It just had to be persistent because the coverage created all the opportunities that needed to be there. This will likely be the formula for our defense this year. Rely on aggressive ball hawking secondary to lock down receivers, confuse quarterbacks, force them to hold the ball longer than they want to. This is the Dan Quinn model. His successful defenses in the past were built on creating turnovers through a combination of aggressive coverage, relentless pass rush. The question for us this year, though, is whether we have enough juice on the D-line to make that formula work. Can players like Dorrance Armstrong and Javon Kinlaw provide enough consistent pass rush? And the early signs can suggest potentially yes. But it's going to come down to whether or not the secondary can shut down these passing lanes, right? That's going to elevate the entire defense. We just talking about one day of camp, though. Day 3 of training camp. There weren't pads on. That's going to come on Monday. But the real test not until they really start joint practices. And then the real test isn't when they start the regular season against the New York Giants. But the day did feel different. It felt like it might have been a turning point for our secondary. No longer a liability, but a potential strength. Overflowing with a newfound hunger to get that football, to be playmakers. The interception by Mikey, that was more than just a single highlight. It was communication, aggression, teamwork, and it obviously was a turnover. And for our fan base, we've been starving for that. Something to be proud of, right? We got JD, we need something on defense to be ecstatic about. Now I want to hear from y'all. What part of the defense performance gets you the most excited this season? Is it the ball hawking secondary, the new aggressive philosophy, or the potential for this unit to finally have a fearsome identity? No fly zone. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'm always down for chopping it up with the Gerard BTV community. And if you're excited as I am, follow this team's journey. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, ring notification bell, more Commanders analysis right here on Gerard BTV. For Burgundy and Gold, we never fold. Thanks for watching, and as always, hail